Hi everyone, Theme Park Tracker here with yet another Universal Studios Hollywood park update. And as always, at this amazing little park, we have a lot to cover. Let's start off with the new ride opening soon in the park, Secret Life of Pets Off the Leash. Inside this little subway looking section are two little kiosks that look like ATM machines, or the new Fast Pass machines at Disneyland's Tomorrowland. These are actually the machines you'd use to get a spot in the virtual queue for this ride. As mentioned in the previous updates, the Secret Life of Pets ride will not have a traditional standby queue. Instead, in order to ride the attraction, you have to check in at these machines and it will dispense a time for you to return based off how many people are in front of you. Or, you could use the Universal Studios Hollywood app to get a virtual queue time. Your return time could be instant, 20 minutes after, or if the park is really busy, maybe even 2 hours later. What I'm not sure of is the return window for this system. For example, FastPass at Disneyland gives you a 1 hour return window to redeem your pass. Also, in the same park, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance boarding groups are generous and give you a 2 hour return window. I'm curious as to how this is going to work. Let's say your virtual queue wait time is 15 minutes and you have a short return window. That doesn't leave much time for you to go do something else in the meantime. I can picture a lot of scenarios where people are just waiting around in front of the attraction for their time to be called. I'm sure I'm missing something here, and this system has been tested in Universal Orlando on multiple rides. The virtual queuing was also tested here in Hollywood a while back for Waterworld, although that test was really flawed and was unnecessary considering it was a high capacity show. Also, many guests, including myself, couldn't quite figure out how to get a virtual queue spot for Waterworld. Either they weren't using it for the day, only certain showings were using it, or the app couldn't pick up your location to book one. I'm sure they've worked everything out for the system, but a part of me thinks they'll abandon the system for the ride and put in a traditional standby queue. Where would they put that switchback queue is an excellent question. They could use the Walking Dead building since that maze is closing down beginning of March. Or they could utilize the endless switchbacks of the Despicable Me queue that are hardly ever used. There's a lot to think about, and we'll see what happens when this ride officially opens on March 27th. Anyways, in front of the building, the entrance signage for Secret Life of Pets has been installed, and it looks great. We also have the warning labels and the wait time board or virtual queue indicator on the left. Overall, this project is coming along very fast. We are just weeks away from getting our first look at this unique ride system for a Universal park. Now, let's go down to the lower lot. Jurassic World is officially down for refurbishment. It is unknown when this ride will reopen, as this is expected to be quite the refurbishment. I would say it's more than the typical yearly refurbishment, but instead a minor overhaul. An overhaul of certain portions and elements of the ride. The obvious section that I'm sure everyone knows about is the final scene right before the drop, placing the full-body Indominus Rex animatronic that has been delayed countless times for an install. Now, it's finally time to do so. The hatches above the final show building have been opened, so that means something is definitely going on in there. Those haven't been opened since the attraction was being converted early last year. It's unfortunate that this attraction already needs a refurbishment considering it just opened, although there was a regularly scheduled time that Jurassic Park went down for its refurb. Throughout the day in which this was recorded, I overheard multiple guests express their disappointment with the attraction being closed. Especially right before you get your ticket scanned, they have signage that indicates which rides are closed for the day, and it must have been really frustrating for guests to see the park's newest ride already closed. This is especially harder for those folk that are visiting the park on pricey day-only tickets and they live nowhere near the park. It looked even harder for the cast members that were standing around the ride's entrance telling guests that it was closed and there was no projected opening date. Hopefully this refurbishment doesn't take too long and all the new elements are working correctly. Something I did notice was right behind the rocks with the waterfall is where the plain and empty Predator Cove section of the ride was. I heard lots of drilling in that area and other construction-related noises. Could this be related to more things on this part of the ride? Let's hope so, because the biggest complaint about Jurassic World the ride was the Predator Cove section. Some animatronics or other such moving objects would make the miles better. Every visible part of the ride has been drained of water, even all around the station. The boats are all gone, and I believe are sitting somewhere on the property, possibly to be sent away for repainting. Which makes me think this is going to be a lengthy refurbishment because they took all the boats off. Well, time will tell what happens to this attraction, and we don't know for sure what they are adding. It's all rumors and speculation at this point. Right outside the park, the popular photo spot with the neon Universal Studios Hollywood sign is behind walls for a touch-up. It would have been neat of the park to put a temporary version of the sign, say, placed on the construction walls instead of having these plain wooden ones. Finally, moving over to City Walk, it's the same three projects going on with little progress from the park update last week. The NBC Sports Grill replacing Tony Roma's and Howl at the Moon is moving along steadily, along with the Hard Rock Cafe replacement Toothsome Chocolate Emporium and the City Walk office building exterior refurbishment all progressing slowly. Toothsome has to be the most exciting project to happen in City Walk for quite some time. The popularity of this location at City Walk Orlando is very high. The menu items and dessert concoctions all look amazing. This should really drive the crowds to this part of City Walk, and I wonder how much space outside of Hard Rock it's going to take up. Will the location be 2 stories? Will they have menu items unique to Hollywood? We'll soon find out all of this information as the construction progresses along. Well, that just about does it for this update. Thank you all so much for watching, and please comment your thoughts down below and subscribe to the channel for more updates at Universal Studios Hollywood.